and welcome to the Veranda Financing Podcast. I'm Christine Mills, and today I'm pleased to have Harper Poe with us. She's the founder and CEO of the fair trade company Proud Mary. Proud Mary sells fair trade accessories, home goods, and clothing from various developing countries in Latin America and Africa. Harper Poe's on a mission to give these entrepreneurs pride and not pity. Welcome to the show, Harper Poe. By the way, you have the coolest name.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're just really excited to have you here. Can you tell us a little bit about you as a person and how you were raised and a little bit about your childhood?
Sure. I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I have twin siblings. Grew up in a fairly homogenized suburban part of Charlotte. So I think my whole life growing up, I had this adventurous side to me, and I just knew that there was more out in the world to this little contained area that I grew up in. I had a wonderful childhood, but I went to Clemson University for college, studied construction management, which is not what I'm doing at all now. But at that point in time, I wanted to build houses. But a lot of the classes I was taking was project management, which that's actually really helped me in my professional life thus far. But my junior year in college, I studied abroad in Spain, and I met tons of people from all over the world and was constantly surrounded by different languages and, different backgrounds and cultures and religions. So I was really thriving in that environment, and it kind of clicked with me. Oh, there's a bigger world out there. I'm so ready to travel and start diving into everything. I just knew that not everyone was exactly like me. I just wanted to discover new cultures and people and really just start getting out into the world. So that definitely impacted me tremendously. I think that kind of set me off on my course of starting Proud Mary, and I just really wanted to travel and discover and see the world. And I think that idea of discovery is something once I got that was that's really impacted me and kind of driven my business and how I act and react in my life. I just enjoy always trying new things and meeting new people, and even simple act of going down a street that I never go down just because I can see new things on the side of the road. That kind of, that to me is just really important to shake it up and always have my eyeballs resting on something new.
Yeah, I love that you started your business out of the way you work and what kind of environment you want to be working in. And you create a business model for yourself that explores what you're passionate about. And do you think that's the key way of entrepreneurship, is to find what you're passionate about and also be very honest with your curiosities and your likes and your dislikes?
Sure. I definitely think it helps. I mean, starting a business is not easy. I don't care what you're doing and how amazing it looks from afar. It's hard. It's hard work. It takes a lot of resources. It takes a lot out of you. So obviously, if you're doing something that really works with you personally, then it really helps you get through the day to day for sure. I mean, obviously, I think if you're doing something that's your calling, it's something that really is authentic to you, then it's definitely easier to get through the day to day grind of owning your own business, because it doesn't matter what you're doing. It's going to be hard. It's gonna take a lot out of you. It's gonna need your enthusiasm and dedication for sure.
Yeah, and I think whatever the business is, a business is a business is a business, and
exactly.
I think with the day of social media, and we see the prettiness of a business, and we see
Absolutely.
we have this image of what people are doing, from the outside looking in. Someone looking at people with fair trade companies like yourself, it's oh, wow, they're traveling all around the country and all over the world, and they're living this amazing life, and they're doing photo shoots, and they're not really aware that, and you have to do bookkeeping, and you have to do this, and you have to cover your costs. So,
and there's a lot of spreadsheets.
Yeah, exactly. So there are some not so fun parts of your business, I'm sure. So what would be the typical day, if that's hard to think of, but just a
No.
typical day of you running your company, Proud Mary.
Sure. I think I work with, like you said earlier, I work with artisans mostly in Latin America and Africa. So the first thing I do in the morning is I usually have WhatsApp messages and emails from our partners in Africa. We do a lot of work in Morocco and in Mali, West Africa. So I usually try to deal with those at the beginning of the day because it's, going towards their afternoon and kind of get those things done. I mean, it's ideally not the best way to ease into your day because it's usually handling production issues or just questions. So like as soon as I wake up, it's like, okay, my mind is thinking, okay, how do we get this material from here to here, and we need to ship this, and et cetera. So it's usually like diving in, and then around a couple hours later, I can sit down and have a cup of coffee and start going through my emails. In terms of like, I usually have an opportunity at least 3 days a week to be creative. I feel like that usually happens for me in the afternoon, and I don't know if that's when I'm the most creative or just when my schedule allows me to dive into the more designer aspect of things. So that usually happens in the afternoon. And then since I've started to do some consulting work, and I think we're going to talk more about that later, but I'm fielding inquiries and talking to people on the phone and Skype with people in the U.S. and abroad. So I have a couple of those calls or email correspondences every day. So there's, a lot of it's production management, and like you said, like the bookkeeping, like there's a lot of spreadsheets involved to keep everything organized.
Right.
We've worked with as many as like 10 countries at a time. So there's a lot of, there's a lot of organization that's involved. I mean, I'm lucky to have in our main countries good production managers and people in country on the ground that'll handle like the day-to-day, like with the artisans. But I still need to know exactly like where everything is, like have an update every day of where different products are. And we've worked both wholesale and retail. So part of it is talking to the stores that we work with, and doing that kind of correspondence. And then obviously selling online, it's corresponding with customers and that kind of thing. So, the traveling and the creative and the design part it's awesome, yes, but it definitely is a smaller part, keeping everything together.
Yeah. But I love the designs. My favorite product of yours are the raffia shoes. I think they're pretty cool. The ones that you have from Morocco. It's one of those shoes that I could see having, it's a staple piece that you could have for the rest of your life. You could wear with a lot of different things. What's that?
I was going to say that the raffia shoes have definitely been our most successful product. And they kind of magically came into my life. One of my good friends from Charleston had been living in Morocco for the past 6 years, and she came back to visit the first year she was there, and she had them these really awesome shoes. I'm like, these are amazing. I want to sell them. Let's try to design into them. So we worked on a couple different styles, like kind of just tweaking colors and like basic shapes. And they just totally took off. This was like in 2012, I guess. I did a trade show in New York, and the buyers really responded really well to them. And since then, that was, and the rest was history. They're now definitely our biggest product category and our most popular products. And we've, it's taken a couple of years to get our production dialed in. We now work with a really awesome producer in Essaouira, which is a really beautiful coastal town in Morocco. And their quality is fantastic. We kind of have developed a really great relationship with them. So it kind of depends. Like the shoes, it wasn't something that I was really looking for. They kind of just organically came to me. But a lot of our products, we choose who we work with based on, one, there's a country or geographic location that I'm interested in exploring personally, or there is a certain craft technique or materials that I really want to develop product around. So, for instance, I wanted to work with mud cloth and indigo, and I knew that Mali.
I love mud cloth.
Me too. It's beautiful. It's like so like simple but graphic. It's fantastic.
It is. And especially right now with all the modern design that's going on, it's like a nice pop.
Yes, it's very. I love that it's so relevant now, and these designs they've been making for hundreds and hundreds of years. So it's really great that aesthetic is I don't want to say the word trend because it's obviously not a trend, but it just works so well with our modern designs. So I knew that I want to work in Mali. I try to go direct to the source of where these crafts originate. So I started doing some research. There's some nonprofits and NGOs operating within the artisan sector that do like artisan capacity building. They'll do some training and connecting traditional artisans with buyers. So I reached out to some of those, and I met a woman at a trade show in New York actually who was working for the West African Trade Hub, which was a USAID funded project. She headed up the handcraft sector. So I told her what I was interested in doing, and a month later we were in Mali together for a month.
Oh.
So it happened pretty fast, but it was a great. And I was, I didn't have my son then, and I was like, let's go. I was very, very eager to jump on any plane.
Right.
Which so that was great, and I've been working. So we went to Mali in 2011, and I've been working with them ever since. Unfortunately, pretty soon after I left the country, they had a coup and a war for a couple of years, and since then the security situation there has just not been great. So I haven't been able to go back and like really develop products that can show off their talent. So I've just kind of been working with what I know that they can do well, that's simple designs to translate. But my goal with all the artisan groups that we work with is not to just do one collection and then, all right, okay, that was fun, bye. But to develop, sustainable relationships and so we can consistently order from these artisans and, support them over time. And also from like a costing resource standpoint from my end, it takes a lot of resources to develop these relationships. You're flying across the world and you're meeting people face to face and you're really spending a lot of time and them getting to know you and you getting to know them. So, it doesn't make much sense to, spend a lot of money up front and then developing those relationships and then not to continue them over time.
Right. And then you have to also be part of the design process and explain that to them. Yeah. To make it something that people want to buy.
Exactly. And that's the most fun part, I think, is, going into these countries and really learning about what they're doing, why they're doing it, and seeing the different materials that they have. So once you have like a full understanding of that, and then you can design into their capabilities, keeping in mind what they do best, but also knowing what the market wants. So that creative challenge is really fun.
Do you do all the designs by yourself, or do you have them join you with the design process? Okay.
I do them all by myself, but it inevitably is a collaboration because I'm learning about what they do, like what their design skills are, like why they're doing it. Like, these are skills that have been passed down for generations. So they have a lot of cultural significance to them. So, it's not totally throwing away what they're doing, but kind of like just building upon that and have it really be a nice collaboration.
And I love the fact that on your website you show the impact of each purchase. And can you share with the listeners like any success stories of the artisan groups you work with? Sure.
That was a fun thing that we developed for my latest iteration of our website last September. I love being able to like get a little nerdy and like add some numbers in there to really see